The next type of graphical representation we want to focus on is called a stem and leaf plot, or a stem plot. The first thing we want to do is we want to put all of the data in ascending order. Again, the calculator would be really helpful in this regard. So I have already entered all of the data into my stat, edit, and I put all of the data into list 1. Next I go back to stat. I want to sort in ascending order, and I want to tell the calculator that all of my values are in list 1. So now that when I go back to my stat edit, all of the values are listed from least to greatest. In a stem and leaf plot, the last digit in the number will be the leaf, and the rest of the digits are the stem. So the first thing we want to do is we want to draw a vertical line. On the left side of the line is the stem, while on the right side are the leaves. The leaves should be arranged in ascending order. So the leaves are the first few digits, the stem is the last digit. So you can see that in this case all of our last digits are decimals. So the first digit is going to be our stem. So we have 0 point something, 1 point something, 2 point something, 3 point something, and 4 point something. So looking at our list, our first data point was 0.7, so I'm going to put a 7 after our line. The next one is 1, so that means it would be 0. Then we have a 1.1, and then a 1.5, and then a 1.7, and a 1.9. Moving on to the 2's, we have a 2.1, a 2.1, a 3, a 2.3, a 4, a 6, a 7, and then an 8. Next, we move down to the 3's. We have a 3.0, a 3.1, a 3.1, a 3.2, a 3.3, a 3.4, a 3.5, another 5, a 6, and a 7. And then finally, our last digits, we have 4.03 times. We also want to make sure that we include a key. The key is going to tell us what the stem stands for. So for example, a 0.5 equal, or 0 with a stem of 5, 0.5 GPA. This would represent a 1.3 GPA. So this is just another way that we can organize data. But sometimes we have a list where one stem is particularly long. When this happens, it's useful to break the numbers with the same stem into two distinct groups. We call this a splitting the stem graph. So for example, zero only has one value, so I'm just going to keep that 7 right there. We could break this up into 0 to 4 goes in the first group, and then 5 to 9 goes in the next group. So if I want to split this stem, 0 and 1 would go in the first one, then 5, 7, 9 would go in the next one. Alright, so for 2, since the first group is going to be 0 to 4, I would have a 1, 1, a 3, 3, and a 4. Everything from 5 to 9 would have to go in the next group. Then moving on to the 3's, 3 would have 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the rest would have to go in the next one. And then since 4 only has one possible value, I don't have to split the 4 up. Alright, same thing, we want to make sure that we include a key. So if we had 0, 5 or 1, 3, this would represent 0.5 GPA, and this would represent a 1.3 GPA.